No way they actually do this, as the Houston Texans could make a splash in the 2026 NFL Draft, as things can get a little heated in the running back room with Joe Mixon's contract. And we're going to talk about all of the details of this new piece of news right here on Texans Digest. Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Donovan Ricondo, and I am in desperate need of a haircut. But we are currently at 2,025 subscribers. We thank you for getting us past that 2,000 mark. And it's the year of 2025. We got 2025 subscribers. What are the chances? But if you want to stay up to date on all your Texans content, this is the channel for you. News like this, where Field Yates recently dropped his way too early 2026 NFL Draft predictions. It's got a little, got people talking about what the Texans are going to do within that draft. And so I'm going to take you to what we're talking about for today, as Joe Mixon's contract situation could push the Texans toward a Heisman contender in 2026 NFL Draft. And they expand on that situation, saying running back Joe Mixon is under contract only through the 2026 season. Interesting point. If the Texans want to avoid uncertainty for a team built around quarterback CJ Stroud's rise, they may have to put running back near the top of the draft board next spring. And I know right now, Joe Mixon is our guy. He is going to be our running back for this season. However, there have been a lot of uncertainties with Joe Mixon the past 2 years. Injuries have happened. He kept him out of a few games last year. He's currently not exactly expected to start in week 1, considering that he is also still dealing with another injury. And so there's just questions to be had. He's a veteran in the league. He's got some years on him, and so would be worth noting that the Texans could go with a running back early in round 1 for next year. Now, of course, the price would have to be right? Who is that running back? Who is that someone that's going to be our running back for the next few years? Who's a young guy who can get things done? Kind of be like our Bijan Robinson, the way he was for the Atlanta Falcons, or kind of be that guy for us here in Houston to give CJ Stroud more of a consistency and a base for his running back spot. And this just goes on to show that Field Yates had in his way too early predictions for the 2026 NFL Draft, again, way too early, he has the Houston Texans landing Jeremiyah Love, running back from the University of Notre Dame. Of course, Notre Dame playing in the national championship last year. Jeremiah Love was hurt that game. He did play a few snaps. He didn't have himself a fantastic, legendary championship game, but all season last year for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, he was an absolute stud. And he goes on to explain in this paragraph right here, with Joe Mixon signed only through 2026, the Texans could use some reinforcements at running back. Next year's class at the position isn't particularly strong, especially in comparison to 2025, but Love is the exception. He has dynamic movement skills, including unique speed, acceleration, and burst to go along with real pass-catching ability. He rushed for 6.9 yards per carry last season en route to 1,115 yards and scored a total of 19 touchdowns, 17 rushing, and 2 receiving. So a very impressive resume for the Houston Texans right here. And quick note, Texans are currently drafting 21 in this mock draft. I certainly hope we are not drafting 21, because what that tells me is that we did not get past the divisional round once again, and we are down there drafting at 21. I hope to goodness that is not the case. But of course, these are not my predictions. These are Field Yates talking about the Texans being 21, indicating an early playoff exit, or maybe not a playoff at all. Regardless, Jeremiyah Love, in my opinion, watching him last year, watching college football, obviously I tuned in for it. I have this poster behind me, as many of you have seen in the past few videos. Jeremiyah Love, absolute stud at running back. He did a lot for them last year. He was their guy. He was their kind of lead guy there in the backfield. Of course, quarterback Riley Leonard was an absolute stud for them as well. But Jeremiyah Love was a reason why they were a playoff contending team, why they made it to the national championship in the first place. And so he's a very solid running back who has a lot of potential for an NFL career. Currently in college, he's has the eligibility to declare for next year, and he is a Heisman contender, as we mentioned earlier in this video. He is due for a great 2025 college football season. I want to take you to what this says right here, football predictions, why Jeremiyah Love will win the Heisman Trophy. This is from the New York Post, and it talked a lot about it, saying that Notre Dame was going to be a run-heavy team this year. And currently, he's a 40-1 betting odd for FanDuel. They're talking best bets, right, guys? They're a little bit under the radar, but are still have a lot of potential to do a lot of work next season, or in this upcoming season that's about to start in 10 days or so. But Jeremiyah Love, great last year, is slated to have a big 2025 year. Whether or not that will result in a Heisman, okay, we shall see. Do I think someone like Arch Manning, who is, once again, look at this poster, look at this poster, look at this poster. Is there someone else I'm rooting for to win that award? Absolutely, of course. But this isn't a Texans Longhorn Digest. This is a Texans Digest. We're talking about Jeremiyah Love for this video. And just putting it out there. Field Yates put it out there on the table. He's talking about what it could possibly be for next season. I do agree with the sentiment, right? Joe Mixon, he's an older guy in the he's a veteran in the NFL, absolutely. And I do agree with the point that having some sort of consistency and stableness in the running back room, it should be key for this team at some point, right? We went to Mixon a few years ago. Some were a little bit like, he might be a little too old. He was great for us. Don't get me wrong. Mixon was absolutely great for us last season. He was a reason why we won a lot of those games. I absolutely love Mixon in this backfield. But if these injuries persist, right, if there's going to be inconsistency there, and, Nick Chubb or rookie Woody Marks or whoever's back there, Dameon Pierce, can't seem to find or wiggle their way into that starting spot, I can fully see the Texans going and taking a running back next year in the draft. Now, whether or not that's going to be in the first round, that remains to be seen. As you know, it's not a very heavy running back draft, at least not right now. The college football season hasn't started. There are no new people that have kind of made a name for themselves in college football. But as of right now, as it stands, Jeremiyah Love is kind of that lead guy for running backs next season. If the Texans, end up having to draft a running back and at what Field Yates labeled number 21 on the board, then so be it, right? Like, I can fully get behind drafting a running back to pair him with C.J. Stroud, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Jeremiyah Love. That, to me, is an offense that, yes, would need some work and need some chemistry to be built upon. Again, no rookie. I don't think Jeremiyah Love as a rookie is going to have a 2,000-yard rush season or by any means or anything like that. But I do think there was some definite intrigue in getting a guy like him onto the team. And I skipped one of these graphics right here that I want to just say really quickly and on this. While draft projections will evolve, as they always have and always will, Houston's situation makes the connection difficult to ignore. The Texans are unlikely to place long-term bets on Mixon, who is entering his 9th NFL season. General manager Nick Caserio has a decision to make about the future at that position, and I think he certainly does. And this season, it's going to start week 1 against the Los Angeles Rams, is going to be a big indication of what Nick Caserio does at running back. All these guys are fighting for their spot, right? It's kind of been assumed that once Joe Mixon is healthy, that he is going to be that starting running back. He's going to have that job for the rest of the year. As, I think we all are rooting for. He's a very, very talented running back. But at the same time, in a sense, I feel like Joe Mixon is still proving why he deserves to be the guy, the lead running back in Houston, not only this year, but next year and the years after, to sustain and elongate his NFL career. So there is something that is being fought for every single one of these running backs. Joe Mixon, Dameon Pierce, Woody Marks, and of course, Nick Chubb, all trying to get their reps at the running back position for the Houston Texans. A very important position, one that hopefully pans out throughout the season. But let me know in the comments what you think about this potential Heisman candidate landing with the Houston Texans next year. I, for one, am excited about it. Of course, that is all subject to change. The college football season starts in about 10 days. We're going to get to it eventually. And once things start to roll, we'll find out what kind of draft prospects that Texans fans are looking after to see, hey, can this guy possibly be wearing the Houston Texans blue, white, and red, and baby blue next season? But all right, let me know in the comments what you think about it. I'm your host, Donovan Ricondo. I will probably get that haircut at some point, one or another. Don't you guys worry. But we'll see you in the next one. Texans Digest. So long.